It's Sean the Hell Destroyer Peck. You're listening to the Metal Voice. Ow! Ready for the big show tonight. It's raining a little bit, it's cold, but you know what? That's metal. Cold rain.
In your room.
Feel the fucking elements. Tonight we will bring down the thunder. I've never played in Detroit before, so looking forward to it. My whole family is from Detroit back in the day, so a little bit of history here. Coming home. Mama, I'm coming home. Kind of we decided to do it because there's a lot of mystery and intrigue about the original idea, and us as metal fans, we were like deprived of something that could have been just, you know, awesome. You know, at least two of the three guys should be on the Mount Rushmore of metal, and so that's why we came up, you know, like, hey, you know, it's obvious they're not going to do it, so we're going to complete this dream, you know, fulfill the prophecy and make this a real thing. And the original idea that we had was like, it's going to be a live band. It wasn't just going to be an album or a project. The whole point of it was to make this a band with original music and playing our own songs. You know, they performed it once live together, you know, and so it's kind of a shame. Again, it's just a little tease of, you know, what maybe could have been. I mean, the song is really cool, you know, I play it a lot and I listen to it a lot and rock it, but what we've done with our version of the Three Tremors is, you know, I think you can see it's to the more extreme level of, you know, pushing the limits. There's not really, you know, they're just trading lines there. There's not a whole lot of harmonizing or, you know, overlapping or, you know, planning, you know, utilizing all three voices to their full potential. And that was the idea of this was too, to like exceed expectations, push the limits, make really good songs, and create songs that required three people to sing, for the most part. I don't think they didn't have plans to do an album. They did one song on the Operation Mindcrime, whatever it was, and shot a video. But the main thing they did was just going out and playing some cover songs and putting, you know, and then they took one of the potential names for the project, you know, called it TRINITY. You know, took a couple photos, but you know, where this is coming from is this idea was to take, you know, try and get some of the strongest, if not the strongest, voices in this kind of heavy metal, and, you know, really push the limits and really, you know, go for the speed and the soaring and just the power of this American style of power metal, this American power thrash. You know, we didn't really intend it to be this fast, but the more we wrote these songs, everyone was just, you know, was up tempo, and that's what we ended up with, and we liked all of them, so we kept them. But you can tell the difference in this material versus that one song that, you know, that they did. But I don't think they ever had any intention of doing a full album. They just went and did some shows, and that was it.
Yeah, we did that one song for his record, but I think maybe his idea originally was to do an album, but it didn't get very far. You know, I mean, I never heard anything else after you know, we did that tour. We had a lot of fun on that run of shows. We actually all got along really well and had a lot of laughs, and it was a good time. But we've never. I think we're all just busy doing other stuff. I think the biggest part of the difference is this is our own material. I think that's what Sean sold me on the idea, because, you know, I still get offers to go do these. You know, Silvio in Brazil just offered me again to go do a metal singers thing. And, but we always played stuff from our back catalog, you know. Judas Priest songs, My Era Priest songs, and maybe a Dio song, who knows. Just different things. But this is pushing our record, you know. We do all the songs live, and I think that's the biggest difference. And really, until this last leg, we didn't have a CD out yet, so we were playing these shows without the music out. So, but that's the biggest difference, trying to win the crowd over with songs some of them haven't even heard before.
backing band is the band Cage. Initially, the idea, I was floating this idea out to a lot of the, you know, obviously I know a lot of people in the metal world, you know, real well-known guitar players and players, you know, and I would say like, hey man, we're going to do this thing, and are you interested in maybe, you know, writing some riffs, or, you know, and everyone was really into it. Like all the others, like, wow, you know, people are saying yes to this right off the bat. And then we pulled back and we said, you know what, this is going to be a difficult challenge to complete this thing. I think that's one of the reasons the original guys never did it, because they said it was, you know, a real big challenge, and oh, it would be hard and all this. And so I liked that idea. I always like a challenge. I like when someone tells me you can't do it. You know, I'm like, oh, really? We can't? You know, and so that always motivates me. And so we pulled back and we said, you know what? Let's just keep it in the Cage camp, because it's going to be a live thing. So we're all here in San Diego, 5 of us. We're familiar with each other on the road. We, you know, we're you know, a lot of bands are just like, oh, they play and they show up. But the 5 of us in Cage are like tight friends, and we call each other on unrelated band stuff all the time. We hang out on unrelated band stuff. So we're, you know, that was an important part. So we knew that we could coexist on the road. We have a lot of other things to do before we put out a DVD. One of the things we're doing is we're going to be releasing all 3 solo versions of the album, which is really, I mean, my version's awesome, and you know, Tim's version of the Three Tremors record, to me, is my favorite thing he's ever done. I mean, his version is so good. So I mean, it's just like there's so much stuff that got left on the cutting room floor that, you know, people got to hear the solo versions of the record, because it's great. And we already have 3 individual killer pieces of artwork for it already done that are going to just blow people's minds. So we're still talking about how we're going to put it out, but it's probably going to be a 3 CD set. We'll just release it as one package, and maybe throw a original song or 2 in there. So that's going to be the next thing. And then right when we get done with this North American tour, we're going to start working on the second Three Tremors record.
That's how we had to record it initially. Sean gave us all the parts and basically a vocal guide track, which was in the beginning kind of very plain. There wasn't a lot of embellishments to it. There wasn't a lot of harmonies. There was just like, okay, here's basically the main thought out melody that I have. And then he gave it to Tim and said, Tim, just put nothing but your vocals on the whole thing. So Tim and I, you know, created, and then Sean went back and redid his vocals. But we sang the whole album as if it was something brand new and fresh to us. And we did everything on the album. Double tracked the vocals. Harmonies were all done by, you know, Tim separate and me separate. So that's why we're able to, in the future, release these, you know, the Tyrant and the Ripper album, because that's the way we had to record it. And then the reason why we did that is because we didn't know what they were going to keep versus what you know, might not go. So we wanted to put everything we could on the album, so they could say that they have a lot of material to choose from when it came time to cutting the voices in and out.
It's the calm before the storm for the Three Tremors. It's 3 times louder than a sonic boom. 3 fingers on the hand of doom. 3-headed Hydra here to dominate. 3 fingers on the hand of fate. So we have the hand of doom and the hand of fate here tonight. There's 2 reactions we get that I love. One is said like it brought me back to when I was in high school again. That's like the greatest compliment you can ever have, because when I discovered heavy metal in high school, I was just like all about it, you know. It was just a great thing just to get into and just devote your whole, you know, you'd be passionate about. So that's one of the other comment I like is, you know, people, you know, these people are coming up like, I've been to 1,000 concerts, I've seen everybody, you know, and this was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. So when you hear that kind of stuff from these people that have been around for like years and years, it's really encouraging, you know that we got something special, and it's still getting better and better as we go through the tour. I never saw that.
Ready?
Never heard of that. So Michael Jackson's nephews did that.
Correct.
So what did the T stand for?
I think it's the first. I think this is the first letter of the first name, something like this.
Well, these guys got no hope if they're going to go up against us, I can tell you.
Had no idea. I was completely surprised by those guys. Michael Jackson's nephews. Wow.
And now,
Under the radar.
things.
Okay, also bleed a little bit of stage right guitar into it also. Perfect, perfect.
Good. Anything else, guys?
Oh, where's the pizza?
Vocalists here. Ready to rock and roll.
Those little haze bother the singers.
Little haze won't bother me.
As long as it's not vanilla scented. I don't like vanilla. Can you make it vagina scented? That would be awesome. Just put a little fish in it, we'll be all right. I don't want to use fighting with space with Dave, but I am. In larger clubs, you know, every one of us is a flamboyant, you know, aggressive musician. And there is no like, oh, it's the Three Tremors always up front, and then the band stays behind, like Celine Dion or something like that. We're all, you know, gifted and talented and flamboyant people, so we enjoy being in the spotlight. And so sometimes with Dave being on the right, his guitar is like right in front of my body, and so we kind of just choreograph and say, okay, well, I need to be up front, so do I kind of zigzag around Dave's headpiece, or do I go around the other way, or how do I get there? Do I duck under, you know?
Hank's getting ready to launch his solo album. Michael is probably getting close to finishing his second Trick Bag album, which is his other band. When we did the European Three Tremors tour, Michael Denner got on stage with us and we played a couple Merciful Fate songs, which was really fun. And so, and we had, you know, we hung out with Michael all day, so of course we talked about stuff. And Michael 100% wants to do another record, and everybody else in the band wants to do a record. And then Hank, I think, you know, we'll get him to come around somehow, because. But right now, he likes to be focused on one thing at a time, and right now his whole focus is on his solo album. But we had a lot of stuff left over from the first two releases, and you know, I've been compiling stuff, anticipating doing another dinner show. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make it happen, because you know, writing songs with Hank and Michael was I fucking loved it, because. Hank is just a riff master, you know. And like, we could release like, you know, we have like 10 versions of each of those songs. Like, he just like every day like, oh, this is the new arrangement. I'm like, what? Dude, we were like, it was done, you know. So I mean, he rearranged songs, like that's just what he does. You know, he's a mad scientist and he's a genius. And that, you know, we did that run of festivals 2 years ago, and like we were really getting, by the end of that run, like we were starting to become like a lethal, like, you know, the last two festivals we were just like deadly. Took a while because we didn't really play that many live shows. It took a while to get good as a live band. I mean, we were good, but by the end of it, you know, I was just like we were looking at each other like, dude, we're badass now. You know, this is we're ready to take on the world. So yeah, I'm really hoping, you know, the fan, everywhere we go, it's just like, what about the Denner Sherman? So the fans really want it. They really want to do shows in America. So I hope we do, because I love singing those songs. Those songs are really fun to perform, and I love both the EP and the Masters of Evil album.
Tonight I did. I showed up in the office thinking, oh, this is my cozy little backstage area, and no, it wasn't. So I had to go down this hall, and I was like, oh man, it smells like natural gas. Am I going to blow up? But no, it smells a lot better now. So I'm in the proper room now. They're just amazed. I mean, some of them never heard the product before. And they're real skeptical thinking that this is just going to be, you know, a bunch of divas up there, but it's not. It's like a brotherly. We're a real true band. Each one of us has chemistry with each other, and they see that, and it's projected from the stage. And then our songs are over the top, and our vocals and our banter is like really friendly and happy. It's light. And it's just pleasant, you know? And so the fans are going crazy. Well, now that the product is out, we underestimated what the fans were gonna buy. And every night, we're just selling out of this and selling out of that. So yeah, it's just been insane. I thought it was gonna be great, but I had no idea it was gonna be this good. People are just blown, their minds are blown. I sing better now than I have when I first started out with Ample Destruction. And that's just because I was young and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I really didn't. And then about 10 or 15 years later, when I found out that my stamina was not as good as it should have been, then I got with a vocal coach, and they re-taught me everything that I was taught in high school and junior high when I was, you know, growing up singing. But when I developed my own style and my own voice, I forgot all the roots. So I went back to the roots and I started, you know, really focusing on my job, what I was doing. And so now that I've been doing that focus for the last 20-something years, I really have kind of got to a place to where when I have this problem vocally, I know how to get around it. I know techniques and stuff I need to do to get around it. And so I've been involved in so many different scenarios. Can't hear on stage, can't talk before the gig. You know, you develop these little tricks to get around it so you can get through it. And yeah, I know so much more about myself and my voice now than I ever have. And when I sing these songs from 1980 and 90, Jag Panzer, Satan's Host, all those songs, I'm singing those songs way better now than I ever was, just because I never stopped. There was never a huge time where I just completely did not use my voice. I've constantly been using my voice in recording or live or something. And if you constantly are rehearsing and you're constantly learning, you're gonna get better, you know. What would I do differently? I'd probably get more exposure. I wasn't out in the limelight enough. I wasn't doing enough interviews. I wasn't hitting up the local radio stations where I played. I wasn't trying to always constantly find a way to be out on the road. You can have the best talent, you can have the best product that's in the stores everywhere, but if nobody sees you and nobody hears about you, then you'll never be famous. So get out there and do it. If you really want to be that, be it. You know, find a way to get out on the road and get exposure in front of people, and let people know that you're alive and that you can actually do what you said you could do on the record. Here's this phenomenal guitarist, Michelangelo Badio, and he went to Gene Simmons, saw him play at a Dean conference or something that they have every year, and he's like, oh my God, you're just amazing. And Michael's like, well, yeah, you know, I can play better than just anybody out there, or equal to. And Gene said, you need to get out and start doing this, you know, promoting yourself and exposing yourself. And now people are finding out who he is and this tremendous talent that he has. because he just thought, oh, I'll just keep putting out these records and that's enough. No, it's really not enough. You got to do the whole ball of wax, man. Like, you got to put out posters. You got to visit their local radio stations and say, hey, look, my band's playing next week. We're going to be doing a show. Everybody's got to get out, you know, and self-promotion until you can afford to get somebody that is that knows and is networked with people that can do that for you, and then you can kick back finally and just be a musician. Yeah, it's great because I'm not singing the whole song all the time and singing and talking in between each song. We have certain songs that we introduce. Tim introduces one. Sometimes Sean introduces one. So I get a little bit of vocal break along with everybody else. They all get these little tiny vocal breaks. So it's almost like being in an instrumental band, to where you sing these little small spots and then you get this large instrumental break before you have to sing next. So doing the whole show is highly comfortable for pretty much all of us, because we're used to just being full on all the time, talking in between the song for an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes longer than that. But here, having the little breaks in between the songs really, you know, gives you stamina to make it through the whole set and give, you know, even more to your performance. So. On the record, Tim may sing the first 2 lines of the verse, and then Sean sings the next 2 lines of the verse, and then I sing maybe the whole next verse. It's things like that. So we have a little map that we rehearse to prior to doing this whole show, and then we have a little bit of sometimes we have a guide up on stage just to make sure we're on the same page. But yeah, we all have it mapped out to where, you know, I sing here, Tim sings there, Sean and I sing backups, Tim does the main lead, so we all have it mapped out. Meticulous, I don't know, meticulous is the only word that comes, you know, he's like really precise in everything he does. So I just have one word for him, and that's meticulous. Well, he's funny too. He cracks jokes, so maybe that's the second word, funny. But yeah, meticulous and funny. I only have 2. Powerful and funny also. Yeah. No, I know it's been a while since the last Deviant Chord came out, but we never really had a chance to support that album with tour-wise because of member changes. You know, Joey stepping out and going to Graham Bonnet and stuff and doing the other stuff. So right now we're just trying to support that and get people to know that Jag Panzer is still alive. So we're not really focusing on any album stuff because we never really had a chance to support that. So basically we're just going out and touring it and doing our back catalog. And it's all the set is almost like the greatest hits of Jag Panzer because we've got, you know, 12 albums out. So we're just doing that. Yeah.
Well, I always look at singers on how they sing and see if I could take any tips from them. I'll probably always do that for the rest of my life. So I'll watch what they do vocally and see if there's anything you know, that I could take from their singing. But Stage presence-wise, I'm way too far into the career to get too many ideas from people. I mean, but still, I actually have a tendency to look at things not to do than what things to do. I'll look at somebody do something, I go, do I do that? And then I'll go, yeah, I should, like leave a mic stand in the center stage. Like take the mic off and leave a mic stand. No one does that here. But I have more of a tendency to do that. And that's usually watching other bands, not these guys. I look at these guys for help on stage, so that's the best part. Well, you know, I get asked a lot to sing on people's records, actually more than people can even imagine. I mean, I get emails and messages on Facebook asking if I could, you know, sing on the record. And I enjoy doing it, you know. I mean, there's a lot of projects I get to do that, you know, are just amazing from different parts of the world, you know. And then to do these records, I mean, they were all kind of, you know, the ball started turning a long time ago on A New Revenge because it was Project Rock. And then we started recording a few years ago and finished it a while ago. But, you know, that's just, it's nice to be in demand to do these things. Like you said, I mean, that's what makes it great. You know, in a perfect world, it would be nice to be in one band because they don't have to tell me because I'm like really busy, you know. But I have to make a living, and that's the only way to make a living is to be really busy, you know. I mean, I'm not disturbed selling out Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? If you're selling Madison Square Garden out, everybody has there's hardly a lot of bands that don't have regular jobs. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, a lot of them have to. I don't. Music's my job. Yeah, it's funny because, you know, people who don't really know about singing, Project Rock vocally takes as much out of me than anything because it's full force, natural voice all the time. It's more in the register of like a Dio kind of a voice, you know, and that actually takes more out of me than cheating with high notes and stuff, you know. Except this band. This band is like, you do one project, like if I sing a Judas Priest, it's easier style kind of singing for me. The Three Tremors is just beyond that because it's just, even though there's three singers, it's full on, just, God, it's full on. By the end of the night, I'm just dead. Well, it's hard, yeah. I mean, everybody has stuff going on, and you know, I think it's just it's always an issue with trying to get bands together to do it. I mean, we'll probably do shows and tour eventually, but the difference even with the Three Tremors is you have a band and most of the guys living in San Diego, so they can actually get together and rehearse and do it, and then we can all do it. You know, and Harry and I live other places, but you know, with something like Spirits of Fire, everybody's just in different parts. You know, so just getting together is tough on its own. You know, so that's it. It just makes it tougher and schedule-wise. I mean, it'll be done at some point, but you know. I don't agree, but it's flattering. You know, I'm flattered. I was singing. I was in top. Listen, I was in absolute top form when I was in Judas Priest. So, I mean, I get him complimenting me like that just because I was in. You know, he's probably the top of my game. Plus, I was younger. But you know, the problem is, I feel bad that comment came out, but I'm still, you know, I'm friends with all the guys in Priest. That's the thing. I'm friends with Rob. I'm friends with Ken. I'm friends with Glenn. Everybody. So, you know, I'll take it as a compliment. You know, it was something that just came out. You know, the thing is, I get asked all the time, almost every day, about the Jugulator CD. So I just answer questions. I myself don't sit back and think about it too much. I just get asked these questions. And it was something I said, do I ever have time to do it? I'm not even sure if I would. You know, I mean, I'm definitely probably going to put a solo CD or a Beyond Fear CD out before I would do a, you know, but if, you know, I do play almost a whole Jugulator CD live almost on a lot of these tours, so I could record it live or something like that in a concert. But, you know, it would be nice to do. Maybe record my favorite songs off of each record and put them out or something. But I don't know. I'm not for sure it'll happen. You know, you say things in interviews and then it explodes and you go, shh, I was just saying that. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. You know, man, that's a lot of work. I think they're great records, and I love them. And it's funny because years later we become friends, and have a great friendship. But yeah, I mean, I love the Maiden records.